I thought I would start out with a little background on myself and how I got started. In 2008, we lost Delilah due to kidney failure. A combination of things. It was due to processed dog food and over vaccination. After that, I decided that we would completely forego the vaccinations and the processed dog food. From that point, we had a successful run. That's when we moved to Florida, and we had Thunder. We had Thunder for 10 years. That right there was a success.
Because he had health problems.
Because he had health problems from the start. He had kidney issues right off the bat, and he was a breeder. He was a breeding reject because he couldn't.
Because he didn't like the sounds of gunshots.
Because he didn't like the sound of gunshots, and because he had kidney issues from the start, they couldn't sell him. So, and I was walking down the road one day, and the breeder said, if you want him, you could. Oh, first of all, I was walking down the road one day, and I took him back 3 times. And I took him back the third time, and the lady said, you want him, you can have him. I said, oh, okay. So we took him. And from that point on, he was ours. You couldn't ask for a better dog.
Well.
And then, we had Thunder for 10 years, and he was a great dog. And then
this is his vest. It got graciously passed down to the next baby.
Yes.
And okay, so you ready to play 20 questions?
Yep.
Okay. Question number 1. What inspired you to specialize in canine health and safety?
Well, that was...
I think we just covered that.
We just covered all that.
Question 2. Can you describe your educational or professional background related to animal health?
Well, my journey started out with Duke University. I took a canine course in cognition, and I took a few other courses through edX and a few other programs, and that's what got me. I tried feverishly for years trying to tie everything together. And I was, that was my end goal, was to try and figure out how to tie everything together. And finally, this year, I finally figured out how to tie everything together. And it's taken me, 15 years?
Many years, yes.
Yeah, to figure out how to tie everything together. But that was my end. I wanted to put everything in a nice little neat package so that I could finally say, this is what I wanted to do.
So that basically covers question number 3.
Yep.
How long have you worked with dogs in a health and safety capacity?
For a number of years.
What types of environments have you worked in?
I've worked in nursing environments. I've worked in pet care. I've worked in you name it, I've done it.
Have you worked with working dogs or service animals?
Yes.
We just kind of covered that too.
Yep.
Ruby is a mobility aid. She's also my medical alert service dog. I have epilepsy and I have a heart condition.
And I've trained her.
Okay. What are the most common health issues that you see in dogs?
Kidney issues and seizures.
What causes these? What can cause the kidney issues?
What can cause the kidney issues is over vaccinations and the pet food.
Okay.
You've got to read labels. You've got to know what's
Most
in.
Definitely.
You've got to know what's in your foods. You've got to know what you're giving your dogs.
We've learned that the hard way.
Yes.
How do you stay up to date with veterinary health standards and canine care practices?
Research. You've got to do your research.
Okay. Can you explain your approach to parasite prevention and control?
You got to be vigilant.
Natural versus chemical.
Oh, I prefer. You got to go natural.
Right.
There's no two ways about it.
So, what are the best natural approaches?
The best natural approaches. From my point of view, as far as flea prevention, I would just say get you a lice comb and some water and some Dawn dish soap.
That's how we've done it. It works.
Bathe your dog.
What should dog owners do to prepare their dogs for extreme weather conditions?
In the wintertime, make sure your dogs have plenty of food, water, and shelter. Summertime, the same thing applies. Food, water, and shelter.
Okay, we're going on to emergency preparedness and safety. What first aid skills should every dog handler know?
CPR is a must. The cooling vests are a must. You've got to know, when your dog is overheating. Check their paws. If their paws are hot, if they're panting excessively, I recommend that you always carry some type of watering container. Go on Amazon. Check out the products on Amazon.
Describe a time that you had to respond to a canine emergency. And what did you do?
Just here, about 10 years ago.
2019, when Thunder had his accident.
2019. Thunder put his paw through the window because he was trying to get to somebody. He sliced his artery in his paw.
He severed a tendon and an artery.
Yeah.
And had to have emergency surgery.
Yeah. We had to, luckily at that time, this was prior to our emergency vet shutting down. Thankfully at that time, she hadn't shut down yet. And we had to rush him to the emergency vet. And luckily, Pat Cook's daughter was still in business.
So what measures did we take prior to putting him in the vehicle?
We had to apply pressure. We had we wrapped his paw. We had to carry him to the vehicle
and keep him calm. Okay. What items do you recommend for a canine first aid kit?
Gauze, chamomile. Chamomile is a must because especially if you want to keep your dog calm during times of stress, it's a natural calming agent. It won't harm your dog at all.
And what's your opinion on medicinal honey?
Medicinal honey's great.
Keeping with the first aid kit.
It's an antibiotic. It's an antimicrobial. It's great to have in your first aid kit.
How do you evaluate the safety of a new environment for dogs? Their home, hiking trails, kennels, etc.
You've got to do a perimeter check. You've got to go out first and check out the area.
How do you handle or prevent aggressive dog behavior in a group setting?
Be there. Vigilance. I never send any of my dogs out by themselves. I'm always out with them.
Because it just takes a minute. Just like with a human toddler. It just takes a second.
And on that same note, as far as off leash, I don't do the off leash stuff. Outside, if we're outside of a barrier, I don't do anything off leash.
How do you educate dog owners or handlers about health risks or preventative care?
What was the question?
How do you educate dog owners or handlers about health risks or preventative care?
The health risks, they've got to be vigilant. I mean, if it's flea and tick season, you got to bathe your dog. You got to, there's certain things that you have to do during certain seasons.
What advice do you give to new dog owners about safety at home and in public?
Watch your water sources. Don't let your dogs go into public areas. Don't let your dogs free sniff.
Yeah.
Dog parks. Avoid dog parks.
So it's starting to rain, so I'm trying to get through this before it does. What are your views on breed-specific legislation or working dog regulations?
I don't believe in BSL. BSL is a bunch of crap. That's the equivalent of BSL is the equivalent of human racism. You judging a dog by its look is the equivalent of judging a human by its color. That's garbage.
How do you balance the needs of the dog with the goals of a handler?
The needs of the dog by the goals of its handler. It's training. If you want your dog to do something specific to your needs, then you need to work with your dog. It's that simple. And it has to be on a continual, consistent basis. Training never stops. There's no such thing as a subject matter expert.
Right. What challenges have you faced advocating for better canine care? How did you handle them?
My biggest challenge, code enforcement.
The quote-unquote dog catcher?
Yeah. That's been my biggest obstacle. The city ordinances, the city experts.
Yeah. And lastly, if a dog showed signs of distress in a crowded event, how would you respond?
Remove them from the situation. If your dog's not comfortable in a crowded event, don't escalate the situation. Don't force them to be there if they're not comfortable, because that's only going to lead to a dog bite. That's only going to lead them to, further bad experiences, which is going to lead to bad behaviors down the line.
Yeah.
If they're not comfortable, remove them.
So we were going to include Ruby.
She's included.
But she's up here.
She's just relaxing.
She's guarding. The question sheets are on the ground. You want to go see Dad? You want to go see Dad?
Hi, baby. Hi, baby.
She loves her massages. That'll be another episode. All right. In conclusion,
you take care of your dog and your dog will take care of you.
That's right.